everyone, have a nice day. Welcome back to my channel. For today, I'll be discussing to you more problems in arithmetic sequence. Before we go on, let me review to you about the two formulas in finding the sum of an arithmetic sequence. Okay, the first formula is S sub n equals n over 2 times quantity of a sub 1 plus a sub n. Where our a sub n is given, we will be using this formula. S sub n is the sum of the first n terms, n is the number of terms, a sub 1 is the first term, and a sub n is the last term. The second formula is S sub n equals n over 2 times quantity of 2 times a sub 1 plus quantity of n minus 1 times d. Okay, this formula will be used if a sub n or the last term is not given, where our S sub n is a sum of the first n terms, n is the number of terms, a sub 1 is the first term, d is the common difference. Okay, now we will consider the first example. In an arithmetic sequence, solve for the value of n out of the given. So the given is S sub n is equal to negative 80, a sub 1 or the first term is 10, and a sub n is equal to negative 26. And we're going to solve for n. So how are we going to solve for this? Okay, since we're given the sum of the first n term as well as the last term, we can make use of the first formula in finding the sum of the first n terms. So we are going to write the formula, and next we have to substitute. So our S sub n is negative 80, just substitute. Then copy n over 2. Our a sub 1 is 10 plus our a sub n, which is the last term, is negative 26. Then just simplify. So just copy negative 80, bring down n over 2, and of course 10 plus negative 26, the answer is negative 16. After that, we have to simplify further, meaning to say we have to multiply n over 2 by negative 16. So we have to bring down negative 80 and n over 2 times negative 16, the answer is negative 8n. Why we have negative 8n? Take note that we can factor out negative 16 as 2 times negative 8. So we can cancel out 2 in the denominator and 2 here as one of the factors. So what is left is n and negative 8. So we have to multiply n times negative 8, and the answer is negative 8n. Or you can also multiply n times negative 16. The answer is negative 16n divided by 2, and that is negative 8n. Now we're going to solve for n. So of course, we have to divide both sides of the equation by negative 8. So negative 8n divided by negative 8, of course, that is equal to n. And negative 80 divided by negative 8, the answer is 10. So we have now the value of n, which is equal to 10. Now let me show to you that the value that we obtain is really the correct value. So we have to go back to the formula S sub n equals n over 2 times quantity of a sub 1 plus a sub n. Now we are going to substitute our n by 10. And our sum should be negative 80. Okay? So now let's substitute our n by 10. So we have sum of the first n terms is equal to 10 over 2 times quantity of 10, the first term, plus quantity of negative 26. Simplify further. So we have 10 divided by 2, the answer is 5. 10 plus negative 26, the answer is negative 16. Now we have to multiply 5 times negative 16, and of course, the answer is negative 80. If you have observed, we have the sum of the first 10 terms equal to negative 80. So meaning to say, we are correct that we have the value of n equal to equal to 10 because we have the sum of the first 10 terms equal to negative 80. So therefore, the value of n is 10. Okay, now let's proceed with the second example. Okay, same example with the first example. The unknown is n, given s sub n, 50, a sub 1 or the first term 4, the last term 16. We have to use again the formula where a sub n is given. Write the formula, substitute. So we have 50 is equal to n over 2. Our first term is 4, our last term is 16. Simplify further, so we have 4 plus 16 equals 20. Just bring down 50 as well as n over 2. Now, we have to multiply n over 2 by 20. So you can multiply n times 20, that is 20n divided by 2, and we have 10n. You can also factor out 20 as 10 times 2. So we can cancel out 2 in the denominator and 2 here. So what is left is n times 10. So n times 10, we have 10n, and bring down 50. Next, to solve for n, we have to divide both sides of the equation by 10. So therefore, 10n divided by 10, that is n, and 50 divided by 10, of course, we have the value of n equals 5. Now to verify if the value of n that we obtain is really the value of n, we're going to check. So we have to go back to the formula. This time we're going to substitute n by 5. So we have the sum of the first 5 terms. We have 5 over 2, and our first term is 4. Our last term is 16. Simplify further, so we have 4 plus 16, the answer is 20. Just bring down 5 over 2. Okay, next we have to multiply 5 over 2 by 20. So we can factor out 20 as 10 and 2. So we can cancel out 2 here as well as 2 as one of the factors of 20. And finally, you multiply 5 and 10. So 5 times 10, the answer is 50. So if you have observed, the sum of the first 5 terms is 50. So we are correct that the value of n is equal to 5 because we obtained a sum of 50, which was given s sub n equals 50. Therefore, therefore the value of n is equal to 5. Now let's have the third example. Still, we have to solve for the value of n, but this time, the given are the sum of the first n term, which is equal to negative 15, first term, which is equal to 12, and the common difference is equal to negative 3. If you have observed, we are not given the value of the last term, but we are given the value of the common difference. So we are going to make use of the second formula in finding the sum of the first n terms. And our second formula is s sub n equals n over 2 times quantity of 2 a sub 1 plus quantity of n minus 1 times d. Now we're going to substitute. So our s sub n is negative 15. Then n over 2 just bring down. our a sub 1 is 12, so we have here 2 times 12 plus n, we're going to solve n, that is unknown, minus 1, just bring down, and our d is equal to negative 3. Now we have to simplify further. Bring down negative 15, bring down also n over 2. 2 times 12, that is equal to 24. And we have to multiply n times negative 3, the answer is negative 3n. And negative 1 times negative 3, the answer is positive 3. Next, bring down negative 15, bring down n over 2. Combine 24 and 3. 24 plus 3, that is equal to 27. And just bring down negative 3n. Now we have to multiply both sides of the equation by 2 to eliminate the fraction part. So the resulting equation will become 2 times negative 15 is equal to n over 2 times quantity of 27 minus 3n times 2. Now we have to multiply 2 times negative 15, that is equal to negative 30. Now we have to multiply the right side of the equation. So n over 2 times 27 minus 3n multiplied by 2, and the 2 in the denominator will be eliminated because 2 divided by 2, that's already 1. So what is left here is we have n multiplied by 27, that is 27n. Next, n multiplied by 3, negative 3n, the answer is negative 3n squared. Now we have to rewrite the equation into standard form of a quadratic equation. So this time I'm going to transpose all the terms from the right side of the equation to the left side of the equation. So we have here 3n squared, because from the right side 3n squared is negative, so once transposed it becomes positive 3n squared. 27n becomes negative 27n. And negative 30, just copy because it's still on the left side of the equation. And we're going to equate that with 0. If you have observed, we are now in the quadratic equation in standard form. But if you have observed, we can still simplify further the given equation, because all the terms on the left side of the equation have greatest common factor, which is equal to 3. So we have to divide both sides of the equation by 3 to have a simplified equation. So 3n squared divided by 3, that is equal to n squared. Negative 27n divided by 3, that is equal to negative 9n. And negative 30 divided by 3, that is equal to negative 10. And of course, 0 divided by 3, that is equal to 0. Now we are going to solve the given quadratic equation. If you can still remember, there are 4 methods in finding the roots of a quadratic equation. This time, I will solve the given equation by factoring, since we can factor out negative 10, where the sum of the two factors is equal to negative 9. Factors of n squared are n and n. And of course, the factors of negative 10 are negative 10 and 1. Negative 10 times 1, the answer is negative 10. But once we add negative 10 plus 1, the answer is negative 9. So we have a perfect pair of factors. After that, we have to equate its factor with 0. So n minus n equals 0, and the other one is n plus 1 equals 0. Next, solve for n. So transpose negative 10 to the right side of the equation. So we have now n is equal to 10, and the other one is n is equal to negative 1. For this problem, we cannot have a value of n which is equal to negative 1. Okay? So if we really want to verify if n which is equal to 10 is really the solution or the value of n, we can do that by checking. So we have to check how we have to make use of the sum of the first n term formula. Okay, so we have here S sub n is equal to n over 2 times quantity of 2 a sub 1 plus quantity of n minus 1 times d. This time we have to check where n is equal to 10. So 10 divided by 2, then 2 times the value of the first term is 12 plus n is 10 minus 1 times negative 3. 10 divided by 2, the answer is 5. 2 times 12, the answer is 24. 10 minus 1 is 9 times negative 3, the answer is negative 27. Next, bring down 5. Combine 24 and negative 27. The answer is negative 3. Multiply 5 times negative 3. The answer is negative 15. So meaning to say, we are correct when n is equal to 10. Because the given is S sub n is negative 15. So we're able to come up with the sum of negative 15 when the value that we substituted to n is equal to 10. Therefore, the value of n is equal to 10. Now let's have the fourth example. This is same example with example number 3. The given are S sub n is equal to 180, a sub 1 or the first term equals 5, common difference 5, and still we are asked to find the value of n. We still have to make use of the second formula in finding the sum of the first n terms. So we have S sub n equals n over 2 times the quantity of 2 a sub 1 plus quantity of n minus 1 times d. Now we are going to substitute the values. S sub n is equal to 180, just bring down n over 2. Then we have here 2, just bring down, and our a sub 1 is 5. Substitute. Bring down quantity of n minus 1, and our d is 5. Next, we have to simplify further. So we have here to bring down 180, bring down also n over 2, multiply 2 times 5, the answer is 10. Next, we have to multiply n by 5, the answer is 5n. And then negative 1 multiplied by 5, the answer is negative 5. Now, we have to combine terms that are similar. So we can combine 10 and negative 5. And the resulting equation will become 180. Just bring down 180. Bring down also n over 2. So we have here 5, the sum between 10 and negative 5. And bring down 5n. Next, we have to multiply both sides of the equation by 2 to eliminate the fraction part here. So it would be easy for us to solve for the value of n. So 2 times 180. Then we have on the right side n over 2 times quantity of 5 plus 5n multiplied by 2. So 2 times 180, the answer is 360. And on the right side, we have to divide common factors 2 and 2. And then we have to multiply n times 5, the answer is 5n. And n multiplied by 5n, the answer is 5n squared. Next, we have to write this equation into quadratic form so we can solve for the value of the variable. So this time I'm going to transpose 360 to the right side of the equation. So the quadratic term will be a positive one, so it would be easy for us to factor out. So we have here to copy 5n squared, copy 5n. I just rearrange starting with the quadratic term followed by the linear term, and then lastly negative 360. From positive it became negative 360. We can also rewrite this in this way. 5n squared plus 5n minus 360 equals 0. And if you have observed, all the terms on the right side of, on the left side of the equation have greatest common factor, which is equal to 5. So we have to divide both sides of the equation by 5. So we can have a simplified equation. So 5n squared divided by 5, the answer is n squared. 5n divided by 5, the answer is n. Negative 360 divided by 5, the answer is negative 72. And 0 divided by 5, of course, the answer is 0. Now, we have already the quadratic equation in standard form, and now we have to solve for the value of n. Okay, we can solve this by factoring. Factors of n squared are n and n. It will give a product of n squared. And the factors of negative 72, that will give a sum of 1, are 9 and negative 8. So 9 times negative 8, that is equal to negative 72. But once we add 9 and negative 8, the sum is positive 1. Next, equate its factor with 0. So we have n plus 9 equals 0, and the other one is n minus 8 equals 0. Solve for n. So we have now to transpose 9 to the right side. So we have n is equal to negative 9. And on the other hand, we have n is equal to positive 8. But when we go back to the problem, we cannot have a value of negative 9 because it will not satisfy to the given. We cannot have the sum of 180 if we're going to make use of negative 9. So we have to consider only the value of n, which is equal to positive 8. Negative 9 here is what we call as extraneous root. Part of a solution, but it's not the answer to the problem. Okay? So in this time, we have to check. We are going to use the value of n is equal to 8. So we have to write the formula. Next, we have to substitute. This time, our n is already 8. Okay, we must see to it that the sum for this is equal to 180. Simplify further. So 8 divided by 2, the answer is 4. 2 times 5, the answer is 10. 8 minus 1 is 7 times 5, the answer is 35. Combine 10 and 35. But before that, just bring down 4. So 4, then 10 plus 35, that is 45. Multiply 4 times 45, the answer is 180. So we are correct. We come up with a sum of 180 when n is equal to 8. So therefore, the value of n is equal to 8. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you learned something, don't forget to like or comment. If you have questions regarding the video, don't forget to share to other students for them to learn or master the lesson. And please don't forget to subscribe to be updated for more math lesson videos and turn on the bell for notifications. Before I end, let me share to you one of the verses from the Bible. Do not be anxious about anything. Instead, pray about everything. Philippians 4 verse 6-7. That's all for today, and God bless you all.